Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of First Impression Sports Talk. I'm Jasmine Pollock, and today we're going to get into all things divisional round in the NFL playoff and a preview to the AFC and NFC championship games. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome to Jasmine Pollock's First Impression Sports Talk, the fastest growing sports talk show in the country. And now, here's your host, Jasmine Pollock.
Welcome back to Jasmine's First Impression Sports Talk. And to kick the day off, we're going to talk about Saturday's divisional round. So we saw the Giants go to the Eagles, and we saw the Jaguars and Chiefs play, which was supposed to be one of those games where we thought the Jaguars would beat them. And unfortunately, the Jaguars fall short, 20-27, and the Chiefs are moving on to the AFC Championship game. Now, the big game that we thought would be a lot more competitive was the Eagles and the Giants football game. And the Eagles from the gate destroyed the Giants, and that game was over by halftime. But let's bring in Jeremiah. Let's talk in depth about that Chiefs and Jaguars game. Now, we all remember the Jaguars stormed back last week against the Chargers, 27 straight points. And we were thinking, man, this Jaguars team is young. They're gritty. We don't know what we're getting from them. Then they go to Kansas City, and they had a pretty good game against the Kansas City Chiefs. But the biggest storyline was Patrick Mahomes getting injured, and now he has a high ankle sprain, so he's not going to be running around too much against the Bengals next week. But Jeremiah, what was your biggest takeaway from the Jaguars and Chiefs game?
Well, my biggest thing is for the Chiefs, they better hope that at least Patrick Mahomes is at least at a 75 or maybe 80%, because you're about to go into a game right now with a hungry Bengals team, a Bengals team that just beat you guys last year when it came to the AFC Championship, and they're looking to do it again. And you just see right now in that last game that they just had, the Jaguars was on the crest of just tying that game up. They were so close to tying the game or getting within 3. It was so many times that they had the chance to go back because Trevor Lawrence, he had himself a way better game than he did, of course, the last week before that one when it was versus the Chargers. He had a way better first half, and then he actually finished the game playing pretty well. But, of course, a lot of things didn't fall in their place. He threw a long pass, one of his receivers. If they would have held on to it, it would probably be a different game. But kudos to the Kansas City because they finished that game out, especially with Mahomes coming back and also having a veteran backup for them. You know, it is great to have that because it kept the offense still at a steady speed, although in back of your head, you're thinking, is Mahomes coming back? So those are things to be looking forward.
Yeah, when we look at this Jacksonville team, they're young. They're up and coming. I think we're going to see the Jacksonville team around for a very long time. They have a very good coach in Doug Peterson, who did win a Super Bowl not too long ago with the Eagles, with that team against the New England Patriots, where they put up 40 points on a Bill Belichick defense, and that was when Brady was there with the New England Patriots. But for Kansas City, you expected, the Kansas City Chiefs, their offense to fly, their teams just go all types of places. Pacheco, their running back, he iced the game. He was running the game down to the wire. But the biggest concern for the Chiefs right now is Patrick Mahomes' health. Now, like we said, we saw the injury where he took a tackle and his leg went the opposite direction, and he was taken out of the game. Now, we saw that he was very frustrated, and he didn't want to get out of the game because, of course, he's a competitor. He wants to go in there and finish the game, and it's the playoffs. So, of course, he wants to go in there and compete. But next week, the Bengals are coming. And the Bengals beat them last year in the AFC Championship game. And I'm still picking the Bengals to win this year because I feel like the Bengals have the better defense. I feel like Patrick Mahomes is going to be injured. He's not going to be running around as much as we normally see him do. And then Joe Burrow on that offense is clicking at the right time per usual. But when I look at Jacksonville, they have like I said, they're young and they have a lot of work to do. And this was just an experience. Trevor Lawrence, he has the experience now of being in a big game. He's been in many games, even, national championships with Clemson. So I'm really excited for this young Jacksonville team. but it's just going to be some work. Now you know what you have to get. I think they need to get some defensive pieces, some guys that can get pressure on the quarterback and different things like that. Some people in the secondary and maybe one extra receiver just to be safe. But I like Jacksonville's chances to repeat and come back and win their division. Let's get into those Cowboys. Now, everybody saw my Pollock's points last week. I said the Dallas Cowboys, congrats, they beat a very bad Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. And the only reason why I picked the Bucs to win that game was solely because of Tom Brady, but his heroes couldn't save them. Now let's get into the game that the Dallas Cowboys had against the 49ers. Dak was not going to throw 5 touchdowns like he did last week. He did. He threw 1, and he threw 2 picks, which I thought he would do. Jeremiah, the Dallas Cowboys for 28 years have not made an NFC championship game. They have lost 7 straight divisional rounds. That's the longest in the NFL history. What's going on with the Cowboys?
The thing that's wrong with the Cowboys, they do not know how to win when it comes to key moments. We already said this before. I said this so many times. Cowboys are going to find a way to do cowboy things. And that's always going to be the narrative until they fix what is the common issue, which is you don't have enough players that are hungry. That goes from the coaching staff all the way down to the players. And all of this stems down to Jerry Jones not putting these things into place. You can try to pay as much money as you want to try to get these top big athletes, especially in your first rounds, and also trying to get the top picks to get them. But still at the same time, you put them on this pedestal to where you're not holding them accountable. You have Dak Prescott, which you had paid over a bunch of money for, and you have Zeke, to where they are playing within the motions and they're not winning you games. And these are the ones that you're spending big bucks on, and you're just not even getting past the second round. To me, that's very disappointing, and very disappointing to that whole fan base, because you already know the fan base is going to talk.
Oh, I don't care about the fan base, because the Dallas Cowboys, that whole organization, has been living in the past. They haven't been good since the 90s. They haven't been to an NFC championship since the 90s. They haven't been to a Super Bowl since the 90s. So when I look at the Cowboys, I'm not surprised. We've seen for the past couple years now, Dallas will look good one game, and then you're thinking, oh, man, this team is dangerous. Then they have a game like they did yesterday against a very good 49ers team. And let's read off this. The Cowboys now are 5-12 in the playoff games. That's worse in the NFL. So they can't even get out of the division round with all the talent, with all the glitz and glam. They're the richest sports franchise in America, by the way.
Number 1 in offense.
Number 1. They are the richest team in pro sports, any sport, any league. They are worth $8 billion. And they get the prime time, they get the glitz and glam. They're America's team, and they can't perform at the highest of level. So Dallas, I don't know what they're going to do, because they have so much money wrapped in Dak Prescott, and they have a lot of free agents that are coming out, and you can't pay everyone because all of your money is with Dak. Absolutely. But let's not take away the success the 49ers had yesterday.
Oh, yes.
Now, I knew it would be a defensive game. That game was going to be good because both defenses are very good, where the Dallas defense is top 5 and the 49ers defense was number 1 in the league. So I expected a game like that. But in no way, shape, or form, Dak has been in the league for 7 years. Brock Purdy, who is the 49ers quarterback, he is their 3rd string quarterback, and he was the last pick in last year's draft. There is no way you should get outplayed by him when you've been playing for 7 years in this league. You have the big bucks, and you have all the momentum your way, and you let Brock Purdy outplay you. That's enough said. Let's get into the Bengals and Bills game. That's another team, the Bills, who had high expectations at the beginning of the season, where everyone was predicting they're a Super Bowl winning team. And they came up short at home against the Bengals. Jeremiah, what happened in that game, and what does the future look like for the Bills?
Well, what happened in that game, first of all, the Bengals, and especially Joe Burrow, just proved to everybody, do not overlook me. Right. Because you guys are so stuck in on the stats of trying to get Buffalo to that next step. Now, you would think when it's snowing weather that you would have the Bills playing at their highest
Right.
because they're using the field to their advantage. But how the Bengals went on that 14-0 lead and just out the box, Joe Burrow, he was playing out of his mind, and the whole team was just staying attached, even with injuries on their linemen.
Mm-hmm.
Injuries on their O line, and Joe Burrow, he barely got touched
Yes.
yesterday, which is a
That's what's
huge
scary.
thing, and which is a huge thing, Jazz. And for the Bengals side, for their future, to me, their future just seems at a standstill only because they're gonna try to do the same exact thing this year as they're gonna do it next year,
Mm-hmm.
and that's going to be a big problem. Josh Allen, he can be your best player on your team at certain points, but he
Yes.
can also be your worst player at a lot of times because he can
Yes.
get you in big leads and then let the other team back in. To be honest with you, they was almost about to lose to the Dolphins last week. Well,
They
the
could
week
have lost
before
to the
last.
Dolphins,
Yes,
and
they
the
could have
Dolphins were
lost.
on their third string quarterback. But
Yeah,
let's read
exactly.
off. Let's read off some of both quarterback stats: Joe Burrow and Josh Allen. Josh Allen, 25 of 42 attempts, 265 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 pick. Now he did have a rushing touchdown, but that was earlier in the game. You cannot have those type of numbers at home in a playoff game.
That's unacceptable in divisional
Zero
round.
t- zero passing touchdowns. That's not good. But on the other hand, you have Joe Burrow. He was 23 of 36, 242 yards and 2 touchdowns. So I mean, and defensively, the Bengals did a number. They put pressure on Josh Allen. They double team and sometimes triple teamed Stephon Diggs. They put a lot of pressure on the Buffalo's offense. But when we look at Joe Burrow and that team, they came out swinging. Now the score should have been 21-7 at half, but that was the whole controversial. Did Jamar Chase catch the touchdown? I believe he did. But for the Bills, this was a bummer because now there's going to be questions around Josh Allen because this is another year where he falls short. And he's been in the league for 5 years now.
And
And there's still questions.
and Jazz right now, because before it used to be Mahomes and Allen, who's better, who's better. Now
Mm-hmm.
it's Burrow and Mahomes, who's better, because you just seen Burrow. To me, he just surpassed him just with this win yesterday
Yes.
because he's proving more. He's
Right.
actually bringing in the resume. Now for the Bills, you guys can be the favorites coming in, but when it comes to the Bengals, they are proving it. Last year, they beat Kansas City.
To
This
go
year,
to the
they
Super
beat
Bowl.
Kansas City in the regular season, and they can maybe go again and beat them. And if they get a Super Bowl win, that's automatically is just going to be just them two of Joe Burrow and Mahomes.
And another thing, too, when we look at Joe Burrow, if Joe Burrow goes to the Super Bowl, you have to put him above Josh Allen now. Now,
Yes,
this whole season, there's been the conversation between Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, rightfully so. They're still very good quarterbacks, but Joe Burrow's still in that mix. You know what I'm saying? So now that he is potentially about to go to this is his third season, by the way, you guys, third season for Joe Burrow. He could potentially go to his second Super Bowl in 3 years. Three.
amazing, amazing.
And Josh Allen's been in the league for 5 years, has not been. So you have to put that into account that Joe Burrow's that guy. I can't believe I'm saying that because I wasn't a fan of him at all with LSU because you guys know I'm a Gators fan, but he is that guy. But if I'm Josh Allen, there's a lot of questions that he's going to hear all season, all off season, and into next season about can he deliver and can he get to that next level. And
Because he
time
had
is
he had he had he
right.
had good teams. He had, especially even Burrow's rookie season, when he got hurt. But of course,
Yes,
you couldn't know like where they was gonna go if he didn't get hurt. But even during that year, Buffalo had a good team too. Every
right.
year they had themselves a good team, and it was always of course, excuse at the beginning parts because they were very younger. But now when it
Mhm.
comes to expectations, there's no excuses.
I agree. And we're going to get into the NFC and AFC championship game. So we're going to get into depth about those two matchups and who we think will be matching up in the Super Bowl. So we'll be right back with a short break.
Renting is everything. It's style at your doorstep, off the runway and into your closet. It's every trend you've been dying to try and every designer you've yet to discover. It's wearing it your way every time and making it count everywhere you go. It's never worrying about what to wear because something new is always coming your way. That's why renting is everything. New styles, top designers, all for a flat monthly fee. Start your subscription at renttherunway.com.
I'm Leon Thomas with the Leon Thomas Group. Podcast, virtual events, webinars, streaming shows, and so much more. We want to be your partner in all things virtual.
Welcome back to First Impression Sports Talk. If you'd like to be a guest on my show and see past episodes of my show, you can go to my website at jasmineonsports.com. And the voices you just heard were from Kelly Johnson, Dean Hunter, and Leon Thomas. If you like voiceover work done for your projects and you would like to get involved in virtual projects, you can contact the leonthomasgroup.com. And let's get into the second half of the NFL season. Now, the last two games, there's four teams in a very, very crazy NFL postseason. Bengals and Chiefs, Eagles and 49ers. So we're going to start with the NFC, which is the Eagles and the 49ers. So the Eagles and 49ers have been consistently the best teams in the NFC so far. We can agree on that. And the Eagles have been the high flying. They have had the best record the whole year. You know, they've had the best offense to me. And, of course, they're the number one rushing team in the league. And then, of course, Jalen Hurts, he's arguably probably the MVP right now. Then you have the 49ers. They're having a whole Cinderella of a season with Brock Purdy, the third-string QB, Mr. Irrelevant, you know, and he's the last pick of the draft. Now they're about to play each other and a chance to book their ticket to Arizona to play in the Super Bowl. So, Jeremiah, who do you have in this game and why?
For me, I have the Eagles. Of course, I really do enjoy what the San Francisco 49ers have done, especially throughout this whole season. Having to go through all those injuries from before and then actually staying strong when everyone came back and then just taking the lead by storm, especially with their backup Purley, I think it was very impressive. But right now, they're about to go into a different jungle in Philadelphia, going against Jalen Hurts, and especially that explosive offense. Not to mention they have gotten way better at their defense as well. And I just feel like this is going to be the first time that the 49ers really played somebody that's really on their level. And I think that for Purley, this is going to be new for him. For Jalen Hurts, yes. I feel like he just has this hunger inside of him. He's working towards something right now. But for Purley, I mean, he's playing within the system right now. You know, he's just going really by the motions, but he's making the great decisions. But when it comes to this big dog right here, I have to go with the Eagles.
I agree. I'm picking the Eagles as well, but I expect a very good game. These are two very good teams that are well coached. They have a lot of athletes all over the field. They have a lot of weapons. They have a lot of stars on the team. But like you said, Brock Purdy, you're going to the Eagles. You're going to Philly. From San Francisco, the weather's completely different. So, I mean, and it's going to be outside. You're used to playing in the warm weather in California. Now you're going to Philly where it's going to be cold. It might be snowing. So there's going to be a lot of different factors that factor in this game. And not to mention, the Eagles have experience in being in the playoffs. They were just in the playoffs last year, even though they got beat by the Bucs in the wild card game. But Jalen, he has the experience now. He has the weapons. He's healthy. Yep. He's playing at the highest of level. I just feel like the Eagles are the better team. I feel like if the game is on the line, I'm picking the Eagles to win this game. And I feel that Brock Purdy, I feel there's some times where I thought, Dallas could have taken advantage of him. The Seahawks could have taken advantage of him in many different aspects, but now you're running up on a team that has the same amount of athletes, that has a very, very good secondary that can clog up different things, and they can pressure the quarterback. And I feel like for him, there's going to be a lot of things that he hasn't seen yet, and I feel like Philly is going to take advantage of that. Also, Jalen needs to win this MVP. I believe he can win this MVP. I think this is his MVP. He's been playing lights out all year, even when he got injured, when he took those couple of games off. He's been playing lights out. And then the acquisition of A.J. Brown, that has to be one of the best free agency moves in a very long time. Getting a receiver like that for your young quarterback, and then not to mention you have Devontae Smith on the other side. They have so many weapons that I feel that they can do, and the read option is going to be crazy for them because Jalen could 1 minute pass it off to Miles Sanders, and then he can run it himself, or he can just throw the ball. So it's going to be a lot of things that the 49ers got to look up to. But I feel like the Eagles are the team. They've been the best team all year, and I think the Eagles will win this game and head to the Super Bowl. Now let's go into the AFC Championship game. Now this game is a rematch between the Chiefs and the Bengals. We saw what happened last year. The Bengals end up going to beat the Chiefs, and they booked their ticket to the Super Bowl last year. Can they do it again, Jeremiah?
For me, I would have to say the Bengals do win. The only reason I'm saying that is because the way that the Bengals looked, especially in yesterday's game, just from both sides of the ball, because of course Eli Apple, he can be sometimes
he's never on time.
Yeah, but he held a little bit of his ground when it came to that defense at part yesterday. Mm-hmm. But even the other assets that they had with defense just really on the money, and this year applying a bunch of pressure. I just felt like they was just very much getting to Josh Allen and make him get out the pocket. And now I feel like they're going to do the same thing with Mahomes, especially with his bad ankle
injury,
that he has right now. Mm-hmm.
No, I know. Yo, go ahead, Jeremiah. Go ahead.
Oh, no, and just my last point, I'm just going to say that I think also the Chiefs in this game, I just feel like they're going to be missing a little bit of Tyreek.
I can agree. And I was going to say that too, but when it comes to Mahomes' ankle, now they're going to shoot his ankle up with pain medication to make it numb before the game and even probably during halftime. But when we look at this, I think the Bengals defense is slightly a lot better than the Chiefs defense. And I feel like with the gimpy Mahomes and that defense flying around, I feel like it's going to cause problems for their offense. And then defensively, I do not think they can stop Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow and T. Higgins and those guys. That offense is clicking. And I just feel like Joe Burrow, he's not afraid of the moment. He's never been afraid of the moment. And they're the underdogs. It seems like Cincinnati thrives in that underdog mentality.
Yes.
Because think about this. Let's do a little history on Cincinnati. Cincinnati, as opposed to the Dallas Cowboys being the richest, they're the poorest franchise in all of sports. Yes, they are. They're a very small market. Uh-huh. It's Cincinnati, Ohio. They're the Bengals, a very small market. A lot of people don't really want to go there. But look at where they are. They were able to draft very well for the past couple of years. They were able to get a lot of good players in free agency, and look where they are now. So their back-to-back years can potentially go to the Super Bowl again. And I don't see the Chiefs competing without Tyreek Hill. I feel like, yes, they have Travis Kelce. Yes, they have Juju Smith. Of course, they have Pacheco at running back. And they have a lot of other receivers that are very good. But Tyreek added a certain type of offense to them with his speed, with his running ability, with him getting down the field, blowing past defenders. They don't really have that type of player, but Cincinnati does, and that's Jamar Chase. He can fly everywhere. Yes. So I feel like this game, I think this will be a very good game, though. But I feel like the Bengals are going to go again, and I think it's going to be the Eagles and the Bengals in the Super Bowl. Now, let's talk about the Super Bowl. So being that we picked that, so Bengals and Eagles, I have the Eagles winning that game, though, because I feel like I said, the Eagles have been the best team all season. They have been the most consistent, and they don't have any weaknesses that we know of. We haven't seen any weaknesses from the Eagles. We just haven't. All season, the only reason they lost the couple games is because Jalen got hurt. Now that he's healthy, we saw what they did against the Giants, and we thought the Giants were going to put up a better showing than that.
Exactly.
But if the Bengals and Eagles play, I have the Eagles winning that game, and I will be rooting for the Eagles.
I would say the same. I'll root for the Eagles because I want to say because for the Bengals, I know you guys made it this far. I know it's gonna hurt to lose
Yeah.
again, but just with Jalen Hurts is just in that zone, he just turns into a different dude because
Right.
he's such a triple threat because of how much he can just has this arm to throw the ball, especially with the connection that he has with his receivers. Not to mention on his legs. His
Yes, his
rushing
legs.
is insane. He's putting up, the Justin Fields and
The
also
Lamar Jacksons.
Lamar
Yeah.
Jackson numbers. I'm like, and this man is really so built, so it's so hard to take him down because he's so shifty, very maneuver when it comes to his game, and not to mention the whole team it's attached. He
To
has
him.
great blocking when it comes to his O line. And I
Yes.
just feel like the Eagles, they're very hungry for this championship, and I do have them winning it.
And what is really cool about that too is Joe Burrow and Jalen Hurts, both national champions,
Yes.
and they both were under the Nick Saban umbrella. That would be huge, just seeing those two guys go back and forth. And then, of course, they're from the SEC. So you have
Devontae Smith over there.
Alabama. It's just a lot of Alabama,
LSU.
So I mean, this if I hope we make it. I hope that this prediction is final. But I would love to see an Eagles and Bengals Super Bowl. Not to say I'm low key kind of tired of the Chiefs because they've been there all the time. This is their 5th straight appearance in the
I
NFC
just
title
don't
game.
see it. I don't see it with the limpy Patrick Mahomes going inside of the Super Bowl.
I just don't see it. I don't see it.
I don't see it.
So it's gonna be Bengals and Eagles. So next Monday, hopefully, we will get to tell you guys that. Anything could happen. I mean, these teams, it's the final 4. These are the best 4 teams left. So, I mean, we'll definitely see. But that wraps up First Impression Sports Talk. Thank you, Remy. Thank you, Oren. Thank you, Jeremiah. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you, everyone, for giving your support. And we will see you guys next Monday to see what our Super Bowl prediction is. So, we'll see you guys next week.